In these problems, we're looking at how to multiply numbers with zeros at the end, what they call a trailing zero. And you'll notice in this problem, we've got 6 times 5, then we've got 60 times 5. And if you know the answer to 6 times 5, getting the answer to 60 times 5 is pretty easy. So maybe you already know that the answer to 6 times 5 is 30. If you don't know that, you might take a minute and say, let's do 6 times 10. Okay, that's 60 because when I multiply by 10, I just put a 0 on the end. And then I can cut that in half, divide that by 2, and that gives me 30. So 6 times 5 is 30. But maybe you already had that memorized. Now, you notice what I did up here. When I multiplied 6 by 10, I just stuck a 0 on the end. We're kind of doing the same thing here. So when I do this problem, I'm going to think of 5 times the 6, okay? And that's 30. And I ignored that 0 to start with, but at the end, I just stick it on the end again. So 6 times 5 is 30, and 60 times 5 is 300. So we're multiplying the non-zero part, and then we're sticking the 0 back on the end. Let's try another one of those just to practice. So 7 times 7. So if you know the answer to 7 times 7, 7 times 70, it's going to be pretty easy. You just do the 7 times 7 part and then stick a 0 on the end. But what if you don't know 7 times 7? How are you going to get that? Sometimes the 7s are tricky for people. Well, you could look it up. You could pull out a calculator, but I think we should figure it out with a little bit of math. So here's what I'm going to do. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. So there's 2 7s. There's 2 more 7s. There's 2 more. So that's 6 7s. I'm going to pause for a minute and add all this together. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 4 more is 12. We'll carry the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 42. But that was only 6, so we're going to add 7 more. Okay, so by repeated addition, we got to 49. So 7 times 7 is 49. That means 7 times 70, we do the 7 times 7 part, that's 49, and we stick the 0 on the end. And this actually works for any number of trailing zeros you had. So for example, if I had 7 times 700, I'd multiply the 7s, 49, and then stick 2 zeros on the end. If I had 7 times 700,000, well, I'd just multiply the 7 times the 7, that's 49, and then I'd stick on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros on the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we usually do this comma thing. So counting from the right-hand side, after 3 I put a comma, after 3 I put a comma. Look at that. We got up to 4,900,000. So that is a little bit of work multiplying by numbers with trailing zeros.